Okay, boys, let's talk about the middle of the Western Conference. Five teams that are separated by 3.5 games: Kings, Pelicans, Mavs, Rockets, Suns. Why did I decide on these five teams specifically? I don't know. Let's talk about Phoenix, who just had a blowout loss to the Clippers. They had a fourth quarter collapse to the Grizzlies. The three-man lineup of KD, Book, and Beal, which has played 108 minutes now, has a positive net rating of 8, so that's good. But still, their last couple have not gone well. I'm not in love with their process right now. I mean, you can see it in that fourth quarter loss to the Grizzlies where they had a few plays with KD playing with bench lineups where it was like it took them too long to get it to KD on like an ISO on the left-hand side, or there was a couple plays where KD didn't even touch the ball at all. You had very late there where it was just a couple of simple pick and rolls up top. One time Jaren Jackson contested Beal at the rim and he missed. Another time where the Grizzlies put two on the ball on KD and they collapsed on Nurkic at the rim. And it just felt like the Grizzlies were very prepared for the offense the Suns were going to run, even if the Suns can still make any tough shot, you know? Also, shout out to Vince Williams, who's doing some things on Memphis right now. Yeah, look, to talk about Beal a little bit more, I think there have definitely been plays where like he's attacking off the catch, or he's pushing it in transition, or he is getting downhill off of an action with Nurkic, maybe just a screen, DHO, whatever. And it's like, okay, that gives them some extra rim juice because like they're towards the bottom of the league and rim attempts per game. They're also like second in mid-range, and okay, they get more leeway than that than your average team. They got KD, Book, and Beal. Okay, fine. They're also 26th in three-point attempts, but that is without Beal for most of the season, so he could tick that up a little bit. And of course, when you look at their roster, besides Grayson Allen and Eric Gordon, there's just not a lot of guys here who just knock down shooters, right? Bates Diop has been disappointing for them. You do wish that Watanabe was giving them a little more from three, though. Booker just had a quote recently where he was saying that they need to get into their stuff a little faster. I forgot if I mentioned this already, but they're like 28th in pace or whatever. Now, the strength of these guys is that there are going to be some games where none of this matters because the shot making of Book, KD, and Beal is just so good that it doesn't matter if, they took too long to get into that set. They, didn't take the exact shot chart that you would envision a team taking in 2024, Of course, KD and Book's assist numbers have been good. I mean, you can find plays where, like, KD will be in the post and he'll make a skip pass to somebody for a shot, or it'll be like they'll skip it to Booker, and then Booker will go off the catch and drive and then kick it to, like, Grayson Allen for a three, or it's in there. Talent of their top three dudes. Like, this offense should and I think will be better. I know there's an argument amongst Suns fans being like, well, should they get another point guard? And not to, like, take the full-time ball handling duties away from, like, Book and Beal and KD, but more so just be able to sprinkle in a little bit more variety, allow those guys to get into like some more off-ball stuff occasionally and stuff. I mean, yeah, that's possible, but number one, you might be getting a little too small. Two, I think they've got the guys to figure this out. I mean, Book even said that in his thing where he was like, no, we should be able to figure this out by now. And even with all that, again, they're +8 with their top three guys in. So like maybe everything I just said does not matter. I mean, personally, I think a forward who can basically be what they were hoping that Bates Diop could be for them might be a larger need than another guard. Just a tall help defender who can make shots pretty much. Up to this point, they've been like a mid-tier defense. I remember going into the year, my big question with them was their defense, and like, would it be more Okogie for on-ball defense? Would it be more Bates Diop for more like wing and help defense and stuff? I mean, look, Bates Diop plays 17 minutes a game, Okogie plays 20. There's just a limitation on what some of your defensive guys are going to be able to do for you if, on the other end, teams just don't have to guard him that much. Nurkic has been good. I'm going to mention that every time because, well, I was pretty negative when they made the Ayton trade, and okay, Nurkic has been good. He's been exactly what they wanted him to be. Screen setter, box out guy, better passer than Ayton, just tough energy dude, the whole thing, culture guy. Nurkic has been good. Now let's get to the Mavs. Of course, Luka has been fantastic this year. He's going to be in the middle of the MVP conversation the whole time. Kyrie has missed a good amount of games. He's back now. Derek Lively has missed the last few games for them, and I think we all understand by now just how massive it is that Lively stepped in as a rookie and was immediately a capable dive guy, rim protector, and all that, right? And also putting the ball on the floor when he's got space in the middle, like if they put two to the ball on a ball handler. I actually think their fourth quarter against the Wolves recently, where they won late, kind of sums up a lot of feelings I have with this team, positive and negative. This was the January 7th game against the Wolves, not the December 28th one. So in that fourth, of course, you had your plays where like Kyrie's making a tough three over Jaden McDaniels or Luka's making a tough step back two. Okay, that's great. Those guys can do that. But I thought it was interesting how like Gobert was playing off of Grant Williams or Derrick Jones Jr., and eventually the Mavs put those guys in screen actions, and one time Grant was actually able to pump and drive past Rudy at the rim for a layup, which I wouldn't bet on him doing that all the time, but he was able to do it. And then one time Derrick Jones Jr. was able to get a dunk where they put two to the ball on. I think it was Luka, and then Dwight Powell like sealed Rudy at the rim, and Jones was able to drive and get a dunk. And it's like, if they could just get a few more of those plays a game from their non-big role players, aka not Derek Lively, I think that'd be nice for him. And the numbers do show this. I mean, for the season, they're averaging the third least amount of shots at the rim. Other storylines, Dante Exum has looked the best he's ever looked, and we hope that he can stay healthy. Similar to Monk with the Kings, Hardaway can be a flamethrower any given night, even with how much Lively has done for them. They do need some help on the boards. I mean, Maxi Kleber, Maxi Kleber averages like 7 points and 5 rebounds. It's not like he's going to kill you with the box score or whatever, but he does help this team, and he just hasn't been there at all this season. So yeah, but the biggest thing with Dallas, man, is just you get Kyrie and Luka in a playoff matchup, and the other team, even if it's a better team who we would all pick to win, it's Kyrie and Luka in a playoff matchup. Good luck, Now let's go to the Kings, who are good, and yet there are some things under the hood to be concerned about, and this team is a bit of a roller coaster just from game to game, and their fan base has been, I think, more aggro than you would think for a team that, again, is good. Granted, Kings fans have been through some things over the last couple decades. Let's get the obvious stuff out of the way first. Fox and Sabonis are still awesome. I think we all know by now just how good Fox is from 3 now. And then as for Keegan, you should be still very excited about Keegan long term. With that said, if you want to go game by game here, you've got some games where within the Sabonis handoff actions, he's getting into his pull-ups, everything's fantastic. Other times, you can go stretches where it's like, oh yeah, Keegan Murray's in the game right now. Now, of course, they've given him more responsibility defensively this year. And like everybody else, I say do not trade him. However, there's other things with this team. So Kevin Huerter's shooting slump has now gotten to the point where it's like, did something happen to Kevin Huerter? Harrison Barnes' rim rate is way down. Malik Monk can be a flamethrower off the bench. Look, I'm going to give you their recent game against the Hawks as the sort of sum up everything I feel about this team game recently for them. They go down by a lot in the first half. And in the first quarter, look, Harrison Barnes and Kevin Huerter missed some shots. There's a couple plays where Sabonis is a little high on a tray, pick and roll, and then the help behind him is a little slow, and so Capella's scoring inside, or you've got Huerter or whoever getting beat on DeJounte just driving in a straight line. A couple times where they collapse and no one goes out to Sadiq Bey for a 3. Before you know it, they're down 20 points 6 minutes into the game. It's what the hell's going on? And then you fast forward to the fourth quarter, and as they come back from down 12 with 8 minutes left, Barnes and Huerter are not in the game. It's Fox, Sabonis, Monk, Duarte, and Keegan Murray. And then from there, you've got Duarte picking up Trey early on possessions, which was kind of to mixed results. Trey was able to get him a couple times. You've got them doubling Trey and then getting back to their guys, which could be a gamble, but they were a little better at it in the fourth quarter there. You had De'Aaron Fox just making a couple of pull-up threes or tough threes over DeJounte where it's I guess he's just going to make these. One time where DeJounte falls asleep off ball with Fox in the corner. Couple plays where Malik Monk just kind of wakes everybody up and gets downhill on a screen action with Sabonis and hits him with a bounce pass or whatever. Hawks double Fox and then he throws it to Malik Monk, gets downhill, hits Keegan. It's what am I supposed to do with this team? They're a good, talented team with 2 really good top 2 dudes. And as I say all that, they lost to the Hornets a week ago or whatever, and their energy was really bad in that game, and then they just lost to the Pelicans, and to be honest, they kind of just didn't show up, and that was at home. Also, one thing with Fox and Sabonis, while they have been really good, both of their free throw percentages are worse this year, just something to care about. So we'll see. I don't know. Kings fans want Vezenkov to get more minutes. Big picture, yeah, I think they still need a really good help defender and stuff, but those guys are hard to come by. And now we get to the Pelicans, and I don't know how often you would have a team being 7 games above 500 nearly midway into the season, and yet their starting 5 is a net negative on the year, and that's even if you want to do last 10 or 15 games or whatever. It's not just the whole season. And even with that, they're 10-5 in their last 15 games, and they've also got a top 10 defense. I mean, Zion, sure, his conditioning has been worse than you would want it to be at this point. He can still be a wrecking ball going to the rim. He can still go off for 27 points on great efficiency like he did against the Wolves, right? But yeah, I mean, you can just look at the numbers. He has not been as good this year as when we were able to see him last year, and definitely not as good as he was 2 years ago. And in that same game, Brandon Ingram made what felt like 7 or 8 pull-up jumpers versus Gobert in a drop, right? Also, Brandon Ingram shooting 50% from mid-range this year, man. That's the magic number when it comes to mid-range jump shots. And when I'm watching their offense, the biggest thing I'm always saying is just get Zion involved in some action. Screening for CJ, screening for Ingram, those are the big ones, or him just getting a screen coming out of the corners, down screens. I mean, I was watching their recent one against the Jazz in the fourth quarter. The dagger of the game was Ingram gets a screen from Zion. The Jazz put 2 to the ball on Ingram, and then it's a kick to Trey Murphy for 3, right? But the other thing that happened in that Jazz game I was watching is Nance played more minutes than Valanciunas, and granted Valanciunas didn't go off as a scorer in that one. There are some games when Valanciunas will get 15 points, 15 rebounds. He's just a beast and, grabbing offensive boards. But Nance is a more versatile defensive player than Valanciunas. He's more switchable, definitely. Now, if you want to look at some lineup stuff, they are much better on defense with Nance in the game as opposed to Valanciunas, but they're much better on offense with Valanciunas in there over Nance. Of course, that's going to be influenced by the guys you're playing with, but also I would like to see, just to see what happens. I'm not saying that it's definitely going to work. I'm just a guy, but it would be cool to see more minutes of Nance with CJ, Zion, Ingram, and Herb. Because that lineup's only played 18 minutes so far. It's a very positive net rating, but it's so few minutes, I'm not going to go crazy with it. But even as I say that, there are some lineups where when Valanciunas is in the game, they still hold up well defensively. So I don't want this to be a Jonas is the problem type of thing. Like, me and everybody on the internet has been saying nothing but nice things about Trey Murphy for the last couple years and what his potential is as a scorer. You know, obviously the range he has in his three ball and everything. Well, he's not in the starting lineup. But you're not going to take Herb out because of how great he is defensively. I remember watching that Jazz game. There's a play where Jordan Clarkson tries to take Herb Jones off the dribble on a drive, and it's just like, no, you're not, buddy. Herb's good at everything on defense, of course. Look, the biggest things, we'll see with the lineups long term, and then also we'll see if the crunch time offense just keeps on keeping on with running actual sets and getting into them quickly and not just falling into super heavy ISO ball, even if Brandon Ingram will bail you out with some 17-footers when you do that sometimes. Okay, now let's talk about the Rockets, who do not have Dillon Brooks currently. And obviously what he does for their defense is huge. But even with that said, I was watching that Bucks game they had recently, and the amount of plays, especially in the first half, when they would like collapse on the Bucks inside, but then still close out to shooters and get a good contest, it was good stuff, man. Like, you'd have like Şengün meeting Giannis at the rim, and of course Şengün's have just been better defensively this year. And then it's like Fred would help off of Dame from the wing to go close out to Malik Beasley in the corner. And then you've got, like, I think it was Jayshawn Tate as well as Jalen Green closing out to Dame, which you probably don't want two guys closing out to one guy, but whatever. And then you had Jabari closing out to Middleton, who ended up taking the three. And it's just that constant, like, on a string, everybody knows what to do. To talk about Jabari a little bit more, like, as a team defender, Jabari, he's just damn good. I mean, whether it's, like, quick little stunts helping off of his guy or closing out to his guy or helping on the boards or just general help defense things, like, Jabari's just been rock solid. And then on offense, his shooting has been better, and he does still have these moments where he'll take like one or two dribbles into a pull-up or whatever, and it suggests that there is still like a higher ceiling with his scoring. But even so, like, for what he's been this year, he's just been damn good. He's averaging 13 a game. It's not going to jump out at you like that, but Jabari is good. But of course, the foundation of this offense is the Fred Şengün pick and roll. And I mean, it's just a great time. Yeah, sure, it's a lot of Fred VanVleet, but also he's the best chance the Rockets have of a good offense, so it's got to be him. And Şengün, man, it's just... It feels like I say this every single time with the dude. It's hook shots. It's the push shot around the free throw line that he gets to. It's the Dirk one-legged fadeaway that he's been doing a little more this year. It feels like he's had more physical, just straight line drives when he's needed it. Up and unders. I mean, Şengün, he's great. Anyway, let's talk about Jalen Green, whose shooting has been inconsistent this year. We'll just put it like that. And I mean, I had a tweet like a week ago saying that the Rockets could be the fourth seed if Jalen Green was good this season, like all the time. His effort was good defensively in that Bucks game I saw. But like with Jalen, look, it's pull-ups, whether it's twos or threes, off of pick and rolls, off of DHOs. You've got some like pull-ups in transition. You have some step-back threes as well. He's averaging like 6 pull-up shots on the year, and step-backs are considered in that. That's NBA.com. It feels like more than 6 when I'm just watching them, but okay, it's 6, I guess. He does have these moments where it feels like he keeps his dribble alive a second longer when the big is playing drop on him, and then maybe it'll be a hesitation or whatever, and then he gets downhill, and I wish that was happening a little bit more, because like there was some plays in their Wolves game recently where he was like scoring around Gobert doing that, and it's like, okay, let's go. Or like he'll have like a blow-by on Jaden McDaniels where he scores. It's like, nice. It's not just the pull-up all the time, right? But then I was watching the Nets game, and it's like he's getting blocked by Claxton. He got by Dorian Finney-Smith, but he got blocked by him, and I don't totally know where I'm at with Jalen Green. And I think deep down, Udoka also doesn't. Like, he's still going to get a lot of minutes, and he's going to say all the right things about Jalen Green. But I think deep down, Udoka's like, if I got to go to Aaron Holiday or Tari Eason to finish out a game, I will do that. We've seen some flashes of Cam and Amen recently. Amen, he's been able to get some shifty downhill stuff occasionally, but I don't know. He's playing like 10 minutes a game. Cam has also been able to get downhill a bit. And yeah, you could definitely see the NBA readiness of Cam Whitmore just going downhill, slashing and all that.